So, hi everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jihan Arfadila Silaja.
My name is Zahra Nabila Pratama.
We're from Group 7 and we would like to discuss about the economic history. Britain evolved from an agrarian society to an industrial economic power by the late 18th and 19th centuries, and the Industrial Revolution was driven by technological innovation, abundant domestic resources, energy sources like coal and steam, and international trade. Its colonial system provided cheap raw materials and protected export markets. However, industrialization caused social issues such as poor working conditions and then urban poverty and rural depopulation. Despite leading global trade for much of the 19th century, Britain's dominance declined as Germany and the USA industrialized. Nevertheless, British financial expertise remained influential in global commerce. And then economic challenges and policies. In the 20th century, Britain faced economic decline due to wars, global recession, competition, and structural issues. Governments began economic planning from the 1940s, implementing fiscal and monetary policies. The Labour Party advocated for nationalization of industries, while the Conservative Party promoted privatization, deregulation, and market economics. From 1979 until 97, privatization transferred industries like British Telecom and British Gas to private ownership, aiming for efficiency and economic freedom. Though concern about monopolies and service quality persisted. And then economic structure. Britain's mixed economy comprised public and private sector, with the latter dominating over two thirds, and small and medium-sized enterprises generate significant employment. Foreign corporation control 10% 10% of the economy. While Britain was attractive for foreign investment, and the industrialization impacted traditional industries like textile, steel, and coal, leading to regional economic struggles. And then economic performance. Post World War II, Britain experienced cycles of recession and growth, high unemployment and inflation, and then structural changes shifted focus to service industry, which now make up 70% of GDP. Manufacturing's share declined, but Britain remains a major exporter of goods and services. Discoveries like North Sea oil boosted the economy but were not strategically reinvested. Global position. Despite challenges, Britain is the world's fourth largest economy. Trade patterns shifted toward the EU, uh, as much 59%, and non-EU partners 24%. Currency fluctuation have affected trade, with the pound allowed to flow since 1972. Conservative policies in the 1980s tackled inflation and inefficiency but caused short-term recession. By the 1990s, the economy stabilized through global downturns in 2001 and then highlighted vulnerabilities in manufacturing. Today, Britain continues balancing market liberation with demand for public services while maintaining a significant role in a global trade and finance. Historical class structure. Historically, Britain's class system was divided into upper, middle, and working classes, primarily based on wealth, property ownership, and aristocratic privilege. Industrialization in the 19th century created further division, fragmenting the middle class like into lower, middle, and upper levels, and the working class into skilled and unskilled worker. The upper class remained defined by birth and inherited wealth. Next, we talk about modern class system. In the 20th century, social mobility increased due to education and economic growth. The rigid class system softened to class division still exists. Researchers now use a six-class model based on occupation, income, and property ownership. First, higher grade professional. It's like doctor and lawyers and then something like them. Second, intermediate professionals like teachers and then sales managers. And then third, non-manual skilled workers like clerks. And fourth, manual skilled worker like coal miners. And fifth, semi-skilled workers like postmen. And then last, unskilled workers like cleaners, laborers, and then something like that. An underclass has also been identified comprising the unemployed, single parent families, and the very poor, like that. Yeah. Okay, next, contemporary trends. Modern Britain consists mostly of a middle class, like over 60%, and shrinking working class like 40%. Increased upward mobility has allowed more people to achieve middle class status, which is now linked to income, occupation, and lifestyle rather than birth or wealth. Polls show many British citizens perceive themselves as middle class, as class distinction have become more about attitudes and social habits than rigid economic marker. And remaining challenge, despite progress inequalities in wealth, limited mobility for some, and poverty persists, indicating that class distinction still holds societal significance. And the text discussed the UK workforce in 2001, highlighting shift towards service industries, increased part-time work, and a growing presence of women in the labor force. Despite legal efforts to ensure gender equality, pay gaps persist, and women often face challenges reaching senior roles. Unemployment has decreased overall but remains regionally high. Skills shortage and insufficient technical training hinder industrial development, while flexible work arrangements and Better childcare support are increasingly needed in a changing economy.
The text discusses the role of financial institutions in the UK economy, highlighting their evolution, challenge, and influence. In the 1980s, the deregulation allowed banks, insurance firms, and markets like the London Stock Exchange to expand and diversity, but economic fluctuation caused issues such as unemployment in the sector and weak market performance. London remains a global financial hub, home to institutions like the Bank of England, High Street Banks, Merchant Banks, and Lloyd's of London, with significant activities in stock, foreign exchange, and insurance. While financial markets have modernized with technology and deregulation, they face critique for scandals, fraud, and insufficient regulation. Measures like the Financial Service Authority and Financial Ombudsman aim to ensure better oversight. The wealthy class has shifted from traditional loans to self-made millionaires in retail and service, reflecting broader social change in wealth distribution and attitudes towards money. The text explores the historic role and challenge of trade unions in Britain, originating from a 14 years century Quills Union advocate for workers' rights, but membership has declined from 20 million in 1978 to 71 million due to unemployment, industry change, and restrictive laws. The Trade Union Congress coordinates union activities but has lay influence now. Conservative legislation has advocated stricter union rules, reduced strict action, and shifted power to employers, while public opinion supports unions for worker protection. Concern about expensive power and extreme prices sticker can harm the economy, though Britain experienced fewer stickers than other nations. The Labour government introduced a minimum wage to aid low earners, but taxation remains a contentious issue. Employers or organizations in Britain, primarily in the private sector, focus on fostering good industrial relations, resolving disputes, and providing legal and professional advice. Most belong to the Confederation of British Industry, which represents them in nego- negotiation with the government, and unions advocates for industrial investment and innovation, and communicates employers views to the public. The CBE holds significant economic influence and is generally aligned with conservative policies, but can be critical when needed. Industrial relations in Britain are often seen as confrontation rooted in class conflict, with both trade union leaders and management receiving criticism. While unions can be ragged for management in frequently blamed and stickers and strained relations, contributing to economic challenge despite reduced industrial unrest compared to the past. The Advisory, Conciliation, and Arbitration Service was established in 1974 to improve industrial relations in Britain by offering advice, conciliation, and arbitration in disputes, while a just-like binding authority in has successfully settled many disputes. It also oversees employment law, addressing issues like unfair dismissal, equal pay, and discrimination, despite improvement in work strike. Cornex remind about the effectiveness of this law. Consumer protection in Britain has developed alongside the law, ensuring consumers have choice. Information and safeguards. The Office of Fair Trading monitors businesses, promotes fair practices, and suggests legislation. Local organizations like Citizens Advice and the National Consumer Council help consumers, while the Consumers Association, through its magazine, which tests and review products to improve standards, although progress has been made. Issues like poor service and misselling persist, which with increasing public willingness to file complaints and pursue legal action. Attitudes towards the economy in Britain have shifted over time. While voters trusted the Labour Party in the late 1990 and early 2000 due to its country's economic policies, there was growing disillusionment with the government over public service. Concerns such as unemployment, industrial decline, inflation, and taxes remain prevalent. Job security is a key concern for workers, often ranked higher than job satisfaction. The British workforce works long hours, but most are fairly satisfied with the jobs. There is a perception that the economy is on fire, with a widening gap between the rich and poor, and businesses are seen as indifferent to workers' welfare. Despite this, the public now values businesses that prioritize employee care, safety, and training. Cultural fashion, such as a reluctance to invest in industry and management weakness, are often blamed for Britain's economic challenge. Although British goods and managers are still highly regarded internationally.